We know, and we've had some really difficult news for people on Friday and over the weekend. We know that price rises are happening at the moment, and we know that energy price rises are coming in a big way this winter. And it's the job of government to help people with these difficulties as and when they arise. Rishi's plan is very much to target that help at the most vulnerable households. So, for example, pensioner households or people with disabilities or households on the lowest incomes. There will be some help for everybody. He set out already when he was still Chancellor, when we had a different idea of how high the prices were going. He set out already that there will be some help for everybody, £400 off all of our bills in October. That'll be welcome, I think, across the board. But we may need to look at going higher than that. But 3/4 of the support that he put in place was targeted at lower income households. And I think that's the right way to go. I know this is hard for everybody, but for some people, it's really hard.
Yeah,
and we need to help them get through it.
And he's not entirely opposed to cutting VAT, but he wants to do that in a targeted way as well. But at the moment, VAT linked to energy bills is already only at 5%. So how much lower would he be prepared to go on that?
Well, exactly. So we need to look at government finances in the round and work out where we can best spend the money, best spend taxpayers' money to help particularly the most vulnerable through this winter. So what I would like to say is that even though we've been doing this leadership race for what feels like a very long time now, government ministers like me are still in post, the civil service is very much still in post, and working really hard on a range of measures to help people with the challenges that we know this winter is going to bring. So whoever wins the leadership election next week, there will be well worked up plans for them to put in place immediately. Some interventions already made when Rishi was still Chancellor, but I'm sure that we will have to do more given what we now know about energy prices.
Surprised were you to read the front of the Times this morning, this poll that they commissioned by YouGov, which shows that half of Conservative Party voters, more than half, would like to see energy companies renationalised. Could that be something that Rishi Sunak would see imposed?
Well, again, I don't think that is the solution at the moment to these current problems. We know that the reason for these price rises can really be laid at the door of Vladimir Putin. The war in Ukraine has really increased prices across the board in my own sector, farming. We're very worried about fertiliser prices, for example. We know that food prices have gone up, and we now know about these energy price rises. The way to deal with the problem is, in my view, Rishi's plan, which is to target that government support, not just take measures which apply across the board, which help the rich disproportionately, as it were. Yeah. So I think that's the way to go. I really do. And I don't think nationalisation would help, because the thing is that the wholesale gas price has gone up and we need to pay it. Yeah. I wish we could just pretend that it hadn't, but it has, and that money has to be paid for somehow.
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying, and I hate to rush you, we are short on time. I just want a final thought on Boris Johnson. We know Rishi Sunak has said that he would scrap the green levies, but yet he's come out his final week at number 10 saying that he would like whoever succeeds him not to give up on green energy. Some of the papers speculating that he could even greenlight this week Sizewell C, the nuclear facility. What do you think Rishi Sunak's views are on that?
Well, Rishi is actually a fairly committed environmentalist, and of course that's important. You were just having a chat with your newspaper report about climate change, and yes, it was in a light-hearted way, but this is real and this is happening, and we know that we have to deal with it. Something that Rishi's always been very keen on is insulation, which may not sound attractive, but he's put real money behind it, over £6 billion behind really good insulation scheme for people's houses. That is the way to help people, with practical, targeted, careful support that can also help the environment at the same time.
Okay, I'll assume that means he's not in favour of it.